Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Christy Kijarina. It's Wednesday, March 12. In Squiz Kids Today, it's NAPLAN time again. Vienna's vibing veggies, row, row, row your pumpkin, and an annual British riot. That's what's making news kids style.
The Lowdown.
Computer charged, check. Packed your headphones, check. NAPLAN browser downloaded, check. Eaten a good brekkie, and check. If you've ticked all those boxes, chances are you're in year 3, 5, 7 or 9 because, drumroll please, NAPLAN starts today. Okay, that might be a bit too much excitement for some tests, but they're actually pretty useful. NAPLAN stands for the National Assessment Program, Literacy and Numeracy. And this year, nearly 1.3 million students across 9,400 schools will be taking part. It's a way for teachers, parents and schools to track how kids are progressing in reading, writing, spelling, grammar and numeracy over time. This is the second time for this cohort of kids that the tests are happening in March instead of May, which means schools and education departments will get the results earlier in term 2. That helps teachers plan lessons and even lets governments figure out which schools need extra support. And if you're feeling a little nervous, that is totally normal. NAPLAN is not about passing or failing. It's just about seeing where you're at so you can get help if you need it or extra challenges if you're breezing through. And if you're in a school affected by ex-tropical cyclone Alfred in Queensland or northern New South Wales, you can get a little bit more time. Your tests might start next Monday. And a little while back, we did a Q&A with former NAPLAN boss Peter Titmaniss, and he says that tests are just another part of school life. All anyone expects is for you to do your best. And if you want to hear a little bit more from him about all things NAPLAN, just stay listening after today's podcast. And remember, you've got this.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Vienna, in Austria, where a group of musicians has taken the saying, playing with your food, to a whole new level. The Vienna Vegetable Orchestra, yep, they're a thing, just set a new world record for performing 344 concerts. And not with violins or trumpets, but with carrot recorders, cucumber phones, and even a leek violin. Yep, for 27 years, these 11 musical masters have been hollowing out carrots, peeling onion skins, and drumming on eggplants to create their one-of-a-kind sound. Why? Well, that's a great question. Because they want to show that music can come from anywhere, even the supermarket or the paddock. And since their instruments are fresh, the audience can actually hear the sound change as the veggies dry out under the stage lights. I've popped a link in the episode notes so you can watch these veggie maestros in action. And seriously, someone please forward this to your school's music teacher because imagine that lesson.
Believe it or not.
Speaking of weird uses for vegetables, one pumpkin-loving scientist in the New South Wales town of Tumut just rode his giant prize-winning pumpkin down a river. Again. For the second year in a row, Mark Peacock enthralled a crowd of thousands by paddling his homegrown 426-kilo pumpkin down the Tumut River. That's bigger than last year's 407 kilogram giant pumpkin, which won top prize at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Mark is obsessed with growing mega pumpkins, and it's not as simple as just tossing some seeds in the dirt. Mark studies weather patterns, places sand under the pumpkin so that it can slide as it grows, and even pitches a tent over it to stop the skin from hardening up too soon. Who knew pumpkin growing was so complicated? And I suppose one thing's for sure, he won't be running out of pumpkin soup anytime soon.
Sport time.
All right, this podcast is turning into a little bit of a weird fest today, but hey, normal is overrated. And speaking of weird, let's head to Derbyshire, England, where a centuries-old ball game just played out in the streets, and it makes regular soccer look like a polite game of chess. This game is called Royal Shrovetide. It's a 2-day football match that's been happening at least since the 1600s. And rule number 1, no murder. Which really makes you wonder what was happening before they made that rule official. Each year on the Shrove Tuesday and Ash Wednesday, hundreds of players split into 2 teams, the Uppards and the Downards. They battle to move a giant watermelon-sized hand-painted leather ball through a 5-kilometre playing field. And when I say playing field, I mean streets, rivers, hedgerows, basically anywhere except the church. The game rages on for 8 hours each day. And this year, the Downards took the win, scoring the only goal of the entire match. A sport that looks like a riot, lasts 2 days and has a no murder rule? England, you've outdone yourself.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Which vegetable did the Vienna Vegetable Orchestra make a violin out of? That's right, it was a leek. Question number 2. How much did the giant pumpkin that Mark Peacock rode down the river this year weigh? This year's pumpkin was 426 kilograms. Question number 3. What is the number 1 rule of Royal Shrovetide? I hope everyone got this one. It is no murder.
Shout outs.
It's Wednesday, March 12. After Melbourne United snatched victory from the Illawarra Hawks on Saturday night, both sides will line up again tonight for Game 2 of the National Basketball League Best of 5 Finals Series. Go the Hawks! Today is also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today. Logan from Proserpine, Harvey from Bellevue Hill, Aurora from Gugong, Isabel from Everton Park, and Jamie listening all the way over there in Hong Kong. And belated birthday shout-outs go to Clara from the Blue Mountains and Kaylee from Bundaberg. Classroom shout-outs today go to Class 3M at Lake Clarendon State School. Year 502 with Ms. Achal at International School Suva all the way over there in Fiji. Class 6S with Mrs. Carter and Mrs. Sikorsky at Cherrybrook Public School. Class 3 Red with Ms. Lloyd-Jones at Downland College in Toowoomba, and Class 6 Green at St Joseph's Catholic School in Corinda. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, just drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for today. Podcast goes so quickly. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.
This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello there and welcome to a very special Squiz Kids Q&A, part of our ongoing series of interviews with people in the news, where you, the kids of Australia, get to ask the questions. I'm Amanda Bauer. Today, we're delighted to welcome to the Squiz Kids Hot Seat someone who will play a part in the lives of 1 million Australian school children for the next 10 days, but whose name most of you have probably not heard before, Peter Titmaniss. Peter is a former teacher who now works for the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority, also known as ACARA. ACARA does a lot of things, including developing the NAPLAN test, and Peter is one of the people in charge of NAPLAN. NAPLAN's given to students in grades 3, 5, 7 and 9 every year, and testing is officially allowed to start tomorrow. That's 1 million Aussie school kids who will be sitting 4 tests each over the next 10 days. One in maths, one in reading, one in writing, and one in language conventions. That's stuff like spelling, grammar, punctuation. Now, just hearing the words test and NAPLAN might make your heart race a little bit, but Peter is here to help you feel a bit more comfortable. And of course, to answer all of your burning NAPLAN questions. After all, it only seems fair that the kids of Australia should get to throw a few curly ones at Peter when they're going to have to answer his questions on the test. Peter, welcome to Squiz Kids.
Hi, nice to be here.
We're really excited to have you on Squiz Kids. Is everything ready for the NAPLAN testing window to open tomorrow?
It is. We've been doing a lot of work to make sure that everyone's prepared. Teachers are prepared. We're prepared. So, yeah, we're good to go.
Fantastic. Now, I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear that we got quite a lot of questions from Squiz Kids about NAPLAN. Are you ready to jump right in?
Let's go.
So to kick things off, we have a student who would like to know more about your personal experience of testing. Let's hear it, Tamara.
Hi Peter, my name is Tamara. I'm 10 years old and I am from Woodhill State School. My question is, did you have NAPLAN when you were at school?
No, we didn't have NAPLAN or television or mobile phones or anything else like that. But we did have dinosaurs and they were really fun.
I don't believe you.
It's true. It's true.
So did you have lots of tests when you were in school?
Yes, we had heaps of tests. I remember every couple of months our teachers used to crank up a test, and it seemed to be what school was about.
And I think there are probably kids who would say that that's still what it feels like for them, which leads nicely into a question that we got a lot from many different Squiz Kids, and we've chosen Lucia to represent them all. Take it away, Lucia.
Hi, Peter. My name is Lucia, and I am 10 years old, and I'm from Mapleton. My question is, why do we have to do NAPLAN?
NAPLAN's a really handy tool, and I think the best way to think about it is like when you go to a doctor. A doctor uses a stethoscope or a thermometer to check how healthy you are. Well, in this case, we've got governments and people like me who use the NAPLAN results to check how kids at schools are going. It helps us to work out whether some schools might need some extra assistance. But it also helps us to work out things that are going really well, and which is just as important. Sometimes teachers from schools that are doing really well, we were asking them to share the information that helps other schools who might need a bit of support.
So it sounds like it's sort of a test of the school more than it is of the individual kids. You just need the kids to sit the test in order for you to find out how the school is doing.
Yeah, that's a really good way of thinking about it. It's really important for a number of different reasons, and your teacher's got a lot of information about how you're going in the classroom anyway. So this is just a little bit of extra information for the teacher, but more importantly, it's information for governments and people like me.
So what's an example of how you've used or a government has used NAPLAN results to make things better for kids?
Probably the one that's most important is where we provide some extra assistance, and that can be through usually extra funding that schools receive, so they can employ some specialists or do some additional programs. We've also done a lot of work with Aboriginal students to make sure that they're ready for schools.
So basically, if things don't go quite as well as you might have hoped in a test, then your school or your community might get some money and some help so that they can help you. That sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Now, 4 tests and 1 million students and 4 different grade levels, making that all happen sounds like quite a lot of work. Amelia has a question for you about your job.
Hi Peter, my name is Amelia. I am 10 years old and I'm from Pakenham. My question is, how is it all put together and who comes up with the questions?
Well, we have some very clever people involved in the process. Another thing it is, these things take a long time to get ready, usually about 2 years, and it involves experts from all across the country. We sometimes hire specialist writers to develop the questions and have a whole team of people sitting in offices in Sydney and in Perth usually who check the questions to make sure they're the right ones for you as students. And the good news is that we end up spending a lot of time making sure that we're asking the right questions so you don't have to worry about the test. And from my point of view, and I think it's important for you, that to think of NAPLAN as a test of what you've already learnt in the class. You've already done the hard work, and so we just need you to try your best.
So you shouldn't be studying for NAPLAN, hitting the books?
No, I think you've done everything you possibly can already. So you should just be turning up to class and doing whatever you do every other day of the year, especially on the days when your teacher might even be sitting your own test. It's no different.
Now, Lucy has a question that some other people had as well, and I think probably quite a lot of kids might want to hear your answer to this one. Let's hear it, Lucy.
Hi Peter, my name is Lucy. I am 10 years old and from Blackmans Bay, Tasmania. My question is, what advice would you give to someone who is nervous about NAPLAN?
Yeah, just as I said a moment ago, I'd remind them that tests are just another part of your school life, and that the thing that your parents, your teachers and your school would expect of you is just to do your best on the day. And you might get nervous in the same way that you might get nervous for other sporting events, that are really important, or a musical performance that you might be doing. So it's natural to be a little bit nervous. But there's no need to do any extra study or anything like that. The best preparation is to do what you're already doing. Come to school and listen in class, follow what your teacher asks you to do.
Now, Class 5B at Launton State School in Queensland sent through some cracker questions, including this one. Let's hear it, Team Launton.
Hi Peter, my name is Alana. I am 10 years old and I'm from Launton State School. My question is, why is NAPLAN only about English and maths, not other subjects such as PE?
Well, NAPLAN focuses on literacy and numeracy. That means English and mathematics. And the reason we do that is because these are the most important things you can learn at school. They're the building blocks for all the learning that you do, even PE. For example, the numeracy skills that you learn probably help you do the scoring if you're actually watching a game, or checking out the player statistics or team ranking. So all of that involves using a bit of numeracy. Similarly, when you're doing mathematics, you actually need to know how to read. So the things such as writing, spelling, grammar, numeracy, which are parts of the NAPLAN tests, are all things that you need to have to be able to progress through schools.
I guess the other thing is that you'd spend an awful lot of time doing NAPLAN tests if you had them in every subject, right?
There'd be a lot of testing over and above what your school provides.
Now, Benji from New South Wales has a really serious question for you, Peter. Benji?
Hi Peter, my name is Benji. I am 8 years old and I'm from Bondi Junction, New South Wales. My question is, why does NAPLAN still use colours in their questions? I am colourblind and can't answer the questions which involve choosing the right colour. Why not use letters like A, B or C to select the correct answer?
Well, that's something we're really passionate about as people who develop the NAPLAN tests, because we want to make sure that students aren't disadvantaged and as many students with special needs can do the test as possible. So we provide a lot of support for students in different ways. For example, we have different colour themes, so if you've got particular colour blindness, you can, or your teacher will select different themes. If you've got trouble using the mouse or iPad, for instance, then we have ways you can use the keyboard to move around the questions on and answer the questions on screen. There's also things like extra time, rest breaks, and we also have printed booklets with large print. We have booklets that are in Braille. And we also, the important, the interesting part about this is we have new technology moving all the time. That technology helps us with things like being able to press a button on a screen and have the question read out to you. That's not for all the questions in the test, but for some questions we've got that sort of assistance. So we're always on the lookout for new technology and how it might help kids with special needs actually take part in the tests.
Now, one of my friends from Victoria, Shahan, has a really great suggestion on how to make NAPLAN more fun. Speaking of technology, do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Hi Peter, my name is Lucy. My friend Shahan is sick at the moment, so I'll be asking his question. Why can't NAPLAN be played as a video game like reading eggs?
Well, that's a great question. It's always fun to have activities like reading eggs that make learning fun, and I'm sure your teacher has lots of different ways to make learning fun. The truth is there are some things in life that just aren't fun, and I guess NAPLAN falls into that category. And some of those things are really important, and I guess NAPLAN falls into that category. Not just important for individuals, but sometimes they're important for all of us to do, so we can help others who might be needed that support, or where we can target extra money to help teachers and schools.
Now, we have a Year 3 student at Albany Primary School in WA who is really cutting to the chase with his question. Robbie, let's hear it.
Hey Peter, my name is Robbie. I am 8 years old and I'm from Albany. My question is, can you tell me all the answers?
Sure, Robbie. I'll have my people call your people. No, Robbie, sorry. I'm really sorry I can't tell you. But you probably don't need the answers. You've probably got them in your head. You just don't realise just yet. They'll come out as you start doing the test.
I reckon all these brilliant young people will do their best the same way they do every day, and it will be no big deal. I'm
sure that's the case. It's just another day at school, and if they think about it that way, they'll be fine.
Now, sadly, that's all we have time for today. An enormous thanks to all of you Squiz Kids who sent in questions for Peter. As per usual, we had more questions sent in than we had time to ask. Each one was fantastic, but time was against us. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today.
No, it was great. I really enjoyed it and loved the questions.
Now, as you may know, Peter, we award a prize for the best question. You get to be the judge. What tickled your funny bone, or what did you think was the wisest question that you were asked all day today?
Well, I'd have to give it to Robbie for his question about give me the answers.
It was worth
it was quite a cheeky little question. So, Robbie, good on you.
Good on you, Robbie. And remember, folks, the Squiz Kids podcast, your daily fix of kid-appropriate news, is out at 7 a.m. every day via the Squiz Kids website or wherever you find your podcasts. This is Amanda signing off. And Peter, would you please do the honours now?
Get out there and have an excellent day.
Over and out.
Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.